So what we are planning to do is that now I have to give you the bad news, and that is there is a escalation going on at work. That's why I have my laptop on my lap.
That's what
And
laptop.
I will continue this and then office work. Yeah, because I work in a finance area, so my laptop is high security laptop and all that kind of stuff. So I will be there, but I will start. I will say something in the beginning, and then I want all of you. Actually, Vindhyavali Mataji, if you can lead the chanting of one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then others will join you. And then there's a chapter from the Krishna book, which I want all of you to take turns and read. And I've requested Sudapa Mataji to, if she can just, coordinate that. So we'll get started as soon as I know that we are broadcasting on Facebook. Can somebody check and let me know?
Yes, Mataji, it's live on Facebook.
It's live on Facebook. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay. So, Om Jnanatimrandasya Gyananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for coming here together to support Vindhyavali Mataji, who, for whom we have decided to have this get together, where we'll have one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then we will also read from the Krishna book, which is created from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please do join us in the prayers. And our prayers are answered according to the intensity with which we pray. And I'm going to tell you about an episode from Mahabharata. So Bhim, Bhimsen, one of the Pandavas, he was one day he was just thinking that Arjuna is such a favorite of Krishna and everybody loves Arjuna so much and Krishna loves him so much. So I should also do something so that I can please Krishna. So then he started looking around to see, how he can please Krishna. For example, Vindhyavali Mataji pleases Krishna by cooking. Sukamal Radhe Mataji pleases by organizing the cookings in the temple. We have, Sutama Mataji who pleases Krishna by her preaching efforts. Varshana Mataji, she distributes books. She does hundreds of other things as well. Aruna Mataji, apart from all the things she paints, right? Garima Mataji, despite all odds, she comes and listens to Krishna Katha. So some people like to do, they like to play music. Somebody might like to decorate. Somebody might like to switch clothes for Krishna. So everybody has got their own mood of doing things. And so Bhimsen also said that, I'm going to sing for Krishna. So we know all that Bhimsen is not known for his singing skills, right? He's the powerful man who can fight. And so he was, so he then, of course, he's a prince, so he organizes somebody to come and teach him how to sing. So he's singing, but his singing, so he goes like sa, re, ga, whatever, classical singing, but that voice is not coming properly. And then everybody's listening, and he's doing that bang in the middle of, Hastinapur. Everybody's hearing that sound, but everybody's afraid that what should we do? Because if you go and tell Bhimsen that your voice is not good, he might just get angry and take the gada and smash you on your head. So they were just thinking what we should do. So then they said, told Arjuna that, Arjuna, why don't you go and tell him to stop? And so Arjuna said, how can I ask him to go and stop? He's the one who is having this competition with me, right? Because he wants to become a better, devotee of Krishna than I am. So I can't go and tell him to stop. So then they went to Yudhishthira and said, can you do that? He said, you know me, I don't want to get on all these fights between sibling rivalry and all that. So he says, I cannot do that. So then they turn to Draupadi and they say that you are the wife, you go and tell him. So Draupadi goes and Draupadi then says that, and she says that, these practice sessions and all that, you should do these practice sessions in an isolated place so that outside people will not disturb you. So then he goes off and he starts practicing in the jungles, in the forest. And so he's practicing again, he's singing. And now that he's in the jungle, he's singing even loudly. And so then what happens is he's thinking, I'm all alone, I'm chanting, and suddenly washerman, Dhobi, he comes there. And so Bhim asks him that, hey, how come you are here? I'm supposed to be in ekant, in isolation and solitary. So then he says, well, if I tell you the reason, you'll be angry. So I won't tell you the reason. So Bhim says, no, 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 tell me the reason, tell me the reason. So then Bhim saying, then the Dhobi says, okay, you have to promise that you won't kill me when I tell you the reason. So Bhim says that, yes, I won't do anything to you, but tell me. So he says that, for the past 2 or 3 days, my donkey, right? The washermen put all the clothes on a donkey and take them to the river to wash. So he says that donkey was missing. And then I heard my donkey's voice and I was following the donkey's voice and I came here. So then Bhim understands that. And then he also understands how his wife had so tactfully told him about, the negative that we had. And we also read about that in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna was saying that, he was saying vidwams and avidwams, right? So he was just saying ignorant, was not saying murkhas and words like that. So Krishna is also very careful about giving the feedback. So then he understands, he comes back home, and then he says that, okay, Krishna, maybe you have not given me the power to sing. And so he goes and locks up himself up in a room, and he's so devastated by the fact that he cannot please Krishna. So he sits down and he's just thinking about that. And then Yudhishthira comes and knocks his door, and he says, hey, Bhimsen, I want you to go and fetch Krishna from Dwarka. So go there to Dwarka and bring him. So he says, okay, I'll bring him tomorrow. And then so he's still contemplating on singing and lack of singing and all that. And then the next day, when he's about to set to go to Dwarka to bring Krishna, he says, okay, let me have some food first. And Bhim saying how much he can eat. So he eats a lot. And then after he eats, then he wants to sleep, right? That's what we do, eating, sleeping, right? So he goes off to sleep. And then he goes into such a deep sleep because of the eating that it's almost 3 o'clock. And then Yudhishthira comes and he says, you are still here? We were supposed to go and fetch Krishna. What have you done? And you are useless. And, like that, he gets a scolding. And so then he feels even more devastated. And, not only Krishna and I'm displeasing my elder brother also. So he just goes inside and, locks him up in the room. And he says that, Krishna, it is too late now for me to go and bring you from Dwarka. It's so far off, right? It's Delhi and Dwarka is Gujarat. So he has to go all over Rajasthan. It takes that route to reach there. I mean, he had skills, he could go very fast, but time was not there. And so he just says that, Krishna, I cannot go and bring you. He's crying. Bhimsen is crying in a locked room. He's crying his heart out and he's saying, like, I don't even have the talents to sing for you. I only know how to fight and I only know how to eat. And because of my eating, I was not able to do this service. I cannot go and bring you, Krishna. Only you have to come. He cries and cries and he says, Krishna, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come. And then there's a knock at his door. He opens it and there is that doorman. And the doorman says, your brother is calling you. And then he's again scared. He thinks, now, I'm going to be scolded again. So he goes there to where his brother Yudhishthira is sitting. And Yudhishthira is there. And right next, he looks at Yudhishthira and he turns his face and he says, there's Krishna sitting right next to Yudhishthira. And then Yudhishthira turns to Bhimsen and he says, and not only don't do your work on time, but now you have also started lying. You said that you didn't bring Krishna. So he says, but no, I did not go to fetch Krishna. And then he turns to Krishna and says, but Krishna, I didn't call you. And then Krishna says, you did call me. You were there in that room and you were playing and you were crying. And the intensity with which you were crying and you're calling out to me, that was so powerful that it forced me to leave Dwarka and come here because you called me. So I would request you all to pray with that kind of intensity today. Our intensity of prayer can make things happen. It'll make Krishna leave, Golok Vrindavan and come and join you here today, right? So I will have to take a leave. I'll be in the listening mode, but I'll have to mute yourself because I could be on calls and you don't want me. I'll also switch off my video because you don't want me to be making gestures, like that. So, but I'm very much here with you. And Vindhyavali Mataji, Prerna is in my thoughts and prayers. Every time I do the Gayatri, she is going to be in my thoughts till you tell me to stop. Okay. And
Mataji, the book, how means you have sent it on like WhatsApp, but how I am going to share?
oh, you're going to share? I'm going to give the, who is near a computer? Who is near a computer? Is there somebody who's on a computer who can watch this? Barshana Mataji, can you share your screen? Can you bring it up on your screen?
Mataji, I'm on the computer. I'm on the laptop.
All of us
Okay,
are on the
so
laptop.
all of you are on a
Yes.
laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, so then one of you can bring it up and you can share. Simi, are you trying to?
So Mataji, what do? I go to share screen, but where do I send that?
No. You open a browser and you go to that link that I sent on WhatsApp. If you don't have that link, I will post it on this
On the chat?
Bhakti
on
Viksha.
the chat. Yeah, it's in Bhakti Viksha, but we can't. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah,
It's
chat will be fine. Yeah, that's.
Okay. Let me put it. Oh, she already brought it up. Very good. Oh no, she didn't bring it up. I brought it up. Okay, so let's see. Command V. Okay, here you go. Can you
Yes.
see that?
So I just click on it. I'm not very good with all these things. So I just click on it. Okay.
Yeah. Can everybody click on it? All of you have got devices, right? All
Yes,
of you can click
Mataji.
on it and- So then follow that, right? Follow that. That'll be good because then you can see their faces.
Oh, but if I unclick it, then it's not like if I click on it, it comes on my screen, but then my Zoom thing is not there.
Yeah. It'll be a technical challenge to do that. So if all of you can just open it, right?
So then
So
we will not
let's-
see each other, but we'll
We
see the
will-
screen, right?
No, let's
No,
do
no.
this way, Mataji. Like there is a reading
Okay,
order. There will be after Vindamali Mataji start with the japa. There is Shukumal Radhe Mataji, Aruni Mataji, Garima Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Meera Mataji, Niral Prabhu, and Simi Mataji. So what I was thinking that when the turn, devotee's turn will come, if they click and they read one like one paragraph, so then that will be okay, Mataji, Shraddha Mataji.
Perfect.
I
This
have
is
my
perfect.
book here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Just
Mataji,
follow
how
it.
about
I
you
won't be able to read.
share the screen and then you can.
But then
you
she'll
can-
have to keep moving, scrolling it down. If she shares the
Oh.
screen,
Yeah.
then
So-
that's
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, we have our phones and on our phone, you have sent it. I have opened it, chapter 23, delivering the wives of Brahmanas who performed sacrifices. So we can read from our phone and you see, we can have our turn.
yeah. We can leave the
Actually, that's a good
laptop.
idea. That's a
yeah,
very
that
good
is
idea.
a good idea too.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I
very
did
good
not
idea.
check the phone. So that's a good
Wait.
idea.
What
I was
chapter?
able to open
Bhagavad
it
Gita?
also.
I'm having this one. Bhagavad.
No,
No, Mataji.
get the Krishna book. Get the Krishna book.
I don't have here.
Vindhyavali Mataji, open your phone. Shraddha Mataji has sent a link just now. Click on the link and you will read chapter 23. Just click on that link that she has sent.
Or Bindabali Mataji, I'm going to send it on your.
You already sent Veda base in this
Yeah.
library or
Click
something.
that. Click
Yeah.
that.
Yes. If you don't find it, I'm going to send you on
Wait,
your
I
WhatsApp.
got it. This one is
Okay.
delivering the wives of the. Okay, I got
Yes.
it.
Now just leave it there. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
So-
somebody wants to share the screen, it's very easy. Just click share screen and then we can all see it on the screen.
It is not easy, Mataji. That is the
Because
problem.
everybody has to go back and
Yeah.
forth. And
No,
Yeah,
I mean one person can just
yeah.
share.
Why don't you share then? If it's that easy.
So how to go? I have the whole thing, that.
So you're going to read one paragraph when Sutapa Mataji tells you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can
Yeah.
you all see the screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we
yes.
can.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's-
we can see.
That's
We
it.
can
That's
see.
it. Thank you so much, Aruni Mataji.
yes.
So
Oh, that's
then,
good.
Kathy, or not Kathy, by the way, Kathy is going to have a baby in a couple of days. maybe within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. So we could do a prayer for her in the end. Yeah. So also what I was saying was that Sutapa, it might be better if Vindhyavali Mataji does the japa, leads the japa, and after that she can read the first 2 paragraphs from here. That way she doesn't have to keep track of, if it goes bad and things like that.
Mataji. And after that, I will repeatedly tell the names if you forget when is your turn.
Yes.
And this Simi Mataji and Priyanka Mataji, Taneja, it's same or?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, that's my daughter's name. Somehow now only her name comes here.
Mataji, no problem.
Okay, so I will take your leave. Manchukalpa Turubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patita Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Aruni Mataji, so is it possible for you to share the screen after the japa session ends?
Let it be there. It's okay. It won't disturb, no?
Let it be there, Mataji. It's fine.
Okay, no problem then. Okay, Vindhyavali Mataji, you start the japa when you are done. Then just read 2 paragraphs. And after Vindhyavali Mataji, Shukumal Radhe Mataji. And then Aruni Mataji. Garima Mataji, are you in a position to read?
No, Mataji.
Okay. Then after Aruni Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Meera Mataji, and Niral Prabhu, can you read?
He said no.
Okay. So after Meera Mataji, Simi Mataji, and then I will read.
Mataji, I can also read. I'm Shraddha-devi Dasi. Just joined for the prayers and the reading.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, then
Hare Krishna, Sudevi Mataji. Hare Krishna, Sudevi
After
Mataji.
Meera Mataji, after Simi Mataji, you can read. Okay, I will again tell you the name, just if you forget. So Vindhyavali Mataji, will you please start?
Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutala Srimati Vaisheshika Dasitnamani Nama Prasalya Prabhupada Ansari Anita Hidi Tasmai Sastra Pradinchodini Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutala Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvan Pacharni Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Dhisarni Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrindaki Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura. Hare Krishna.
Bindavali Mataji?
Yeah.
Yeah, you start reading first 2 chapters, and after you, it's Shukumal Radhe Mataji.
Okay. Delivering the wives of the Brahmanas who performed sacrifices. The morning passed, and the cowherd boys were very hungry because they had not eaten breakfast. They immediately approached Krishna and Balaram and said, "Dear Krishna and Balarama, you are both all powerful. You can kill many, many demons. But today we are much afflicted with hunger, and this is disturbing us. Please arrange for something that will mitigate our hunger." Requested in this way by their friends, Lord Krishna and Balarama arranged to show compassion to certain wives of Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices. These wives were great devotees of the Lord, and Krishna took this opportunity to bless them. He said, "My dear friends, please go to the house of Brahmanas nearby. They are now engaged in performing the Vedic sacrifice known as Angirasa, for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. All of you please go to them. Then Lord Krishna warned his friends. These Brahmanas are not Vaishnavas. They cannot even chant our names Krishna and Balarama. They are very busy in chanting the Vedic hymns. Although the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find me, but because they are not attracted by the names of Krishna and Balarama, you had better not ask them for anything in my name. Better ask for some charity in the name of Balarama. Hare Krishna.
2 paragraphs, Uttapa? Or 1 paragraph?
One paragraph.
1 paragraph.
Yes.
Charity is generally given to high-class Brahmanas, but Krishna and Balram did not appear in a Brahmana family. Balram was known as the son of Vasudev, a Kshatriya, and Krishna was known in Vrindavan as the son of Nand Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. Neither belonged to the Brahmana community. Therefore, Krishna considered that the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifices might not be induced to give charity to a Kshatriya and Vaishya. But at least if you utter the name of Balram, they may prefer to give in charity to a Kshatriya rather than to me, because I am only a Vaishya. Hare Krishna.
Aruni Mataji.
Being thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the boys went to the Brahmanas and began to ask for some charity. They approached them with folded hands and fell down on the ground to offer respect. O earthly gods, kindly hear us, who are ordered by Lord Krishna and Balarama. We hope you know them both very well, and we wish you all good fortune. Krishna and Balarama are tending cows nearby, and we have accompanied them. We have come to ask for some food from you. You are all Brahmanas and knowers of religious principles, and if you think that you should give us charity, then give us some food, and we shall all eat along with Krishna and Balarama. You are the most respectable Brahmanas within the human society, and you are expected to know all the principles of religious procedure.
Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Although the boys were village boys and were not expected to be learned in all the Vedic principles of religious rituals, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balram, they knew all those principles. By addressing the Brahmanas as knowers of all the religious principles, the boys expressed the point of view that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balram, were asking for food, the Brahmanas should immediately deliver some without hesitation, because as stated in Bhagavad Gita, one should perform yajna, sacrifice, only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Meera Mataji.
The boys continued, Lord Vishnu as Krishna and Balram is standing waiting, and you should immediately deliver whatever food you have in your stock. They also explained to the Brahmanas when food is to be accepted and when it is not to be accepted. Generally, the Vaishnavas or pure devotees of the Lord do not take part in ordinary sacrificial performances, but they know very well the ceremonials called Diksha, Pashu, Samstha, and Sautramani. One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before the animal sacrifice ceremony and the Sautramani, or ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boy said, we can take your food at the present stage of your ceremony. For now, it will not be prohibited, so you can deliver us the food. Hare Krishna.
Sumi Mataji. Is she there? Shimi Mataji.
Although the of Lord Krishna and Balaram were simply cowherd boys, They were in a position to dictate even to the high-class Brahmanas engaged in the Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the Samrata Brahmins, who were simply sacrificial-minded, could not understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. They could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balaram. Although they heard all the arguments on behalf of Krishna and Balaram, they did not care for them, and they refused to speak to the boys, despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of Vedic sacrificial rites. All such non devotee Brahmins, although they think of themselves as very highly elevated, are ignorant, foolish persons. All their activities are childish because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas, as it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. To understand Krishna, in spite of their advancement in Vedic knowledge and rituals, they do not understand Krishna. Therefore, their knowledge of Veda is useless. Lord Chaitanya therefore gave his valuable opinion that although a person may not be born in Brahmana family, if he knows Krishna or the science of Krishna consciousness, he is more than Brahmana and he is quite fit to become a spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Shrudevi Mataji.
You meant my name, Sudevi Sekhi?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah. There are various details.
Okay. There are various details to be observed in the performance of sacrifices. They are known as desha, place, kala, time, prithak dravya, the different detailed paraphernalia, mantra, hymns, tantra, scriptural evidences, agni, fire, ritvik, learned performers of sacrifices, devata, the demigods, yajamana, the performer of the sacrifices, kratu, the sacrifice itself, and dharma, the procedures. All these are for satisfying Krishna. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is directly the supreme personality of Godhead and the supreme absolute truth. Beyond the conception or speculation of the material senses, he is present just like an ordinary human boy, but for persons who identify themselves with a body, it is very difficult to understand him. The Brahmanas were very much interested in the comforts of the material body and in the elevation to the higher planetary residences called Swargavas. They were therefore completely unable to understand the position of Krishna.
When the boys saw that the Brahmanas would not reply to them even with a simple yes or no, they became very much disappointed. Then they returned to Lord Krishna and Balaram and explained everything that had happened. After hearing their statements, the Supreme Personality of Godhead smiled. He told them that they should not be sorry for being refused by the Brahmanas, because that is the way of begging. He convinced them that one who is engaged in collecting or begging should not think that he will be successful everywhere. He may be unsuccessful in some places, but that should not be cause for disappointment. Lord Krishna then asked all the boys to go again, but this time to the wives of those Brahmanas engaged in sacrifices. He also informed them that these wives were great devotees. They are always absorbed in thinking of us. Go there and ask for some food in my name and the name of Balaram, and I am sure that they will deliver you as much food as you desire. Hare Krishna. Vindavali Mataji, you start read one paragraph.
Carrying out Krishna's order, the boys immediately went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They found the wives sitting inside the Brahmana's house. They were very beautifully decorated with ornaments. After offering them all respectable obeisances, the boys said, "Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balrama are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come here under their instructions. All of us are very hungry. Therefore, we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna and Balrama and ourselves. Hare Krishna.
Shukuman Radhe Mataji.
Yeah. Immediately upon hearing this, the wives of the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balram. These reactions were spontaneous. They did not have to be convinced of the importance of Krishna and Balram. Immediately upon hearing their names, they became very eager to see them. Being advanced by thinking of Krishna constantly, they were performing the greatest form of mystic meditation. All the wives then became very busily engaged in filling up different pots with nice food. Due to the performance of the sacrifice, the various foods were all very palatable. After collecting a feast, they prepared to go to Krishna, their most beloved object, exactly in the way rivers flow to the sea.
Aruni
For a,
Mataji.
lo-
Yeah.
for a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go see him, their husbands, fathers, sons, and relatives asked them not to go, but the wives did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. The women entered the forest of Vrindavana on the bank of the Yamuna, which was verdant with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within that forest, they saw Krishna and Balarama engaged in tending the cows along with their very affectionate boyfriends.
Hare Krishna. The Brahmana's wives saw Krishna with a blackish complexion, wearing a garment that glittered like gold. He wore a nice garland of forest flowers and a peacock feather on his head. He was also painted with the minerals found in Vrindavan, and he looked exactly like a dancing actor on the theatrical stage. They saw him resting one hand on the shoulder of his friend, and in his other hand he was holding a lotus flower. His ears were decorated with lilies. He wore marks of tilak, and he was smiling charmingly. With their very eyes with their very eyes, the wives of the Brahmanas saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of whom they had heard so much, who was so dear to them, and in whom their minds were always absorbed. Now they saw him eye to eye and face to face, and Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. Hare Krishna. Simi Mataji.
No, Meera Mataji. Meera Mataji, it's your
Oh,
turn.
okay. Thank you. Within themselves, they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content, and the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. They were just like great sages who, by advancement of knowledge, merge into the existence of the Supreme. As the super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him despite all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands, and brothers. And despite all the duties of household affairs, they came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him. Giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties, he therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into the wives' hearts and when they embraced him and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose his identity, nor did the individual wives lost theirs. The equality of both the Lord and the wives remained, yet they felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover without any pinch of personal consideration, that is called oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Shikshashtaka. Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. That oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Lord Krishna welcomed them with the following words: My dear wives of Brahmins, you are all very fortunate and are welcome here. Please let me know what can I do for you? You're coming here to see me, neglecting all the restrictions and hindrance of relatives, fathers, brothers, and husbands, is completely befitting. One who does this actually knows this his self-interest, because rendering transcendental loving service unto me without motive or restriction is actually auspicious for the living entities. Hare Krishna.
Shraddha-devi Mataji.
Is it my turn, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Lord Krishna here confirms that the conditioned soul can reach the highest perfectional stage by surrendering to him. One must give up all other responsibilities. This complete surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most auspicious path for the conditioned soul, because the Supreme Lord is the supreme objective of love. Everyone is loving his self according to the advancement of his knowledge. Ultimately, when a person comes to understand that his self is the spirit soul, and that the spirit soul is nothing but a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, he recognizes the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of love, and then surrenders unto him. This surrender is considered auspicious for the conditioned soul. Our life, property, home, wife, children, house, country, society, and all paraphernalia which are very dear to us are expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the central object of love because he gives us all bliss, expanding himself in so many ways according to our different situations, namely bodily, mental, or spiritual. Thank you, Mataji.
My dear wives of the Brahmanas, Krishna said, you can now return to your homes. Engage yourselves in sacrificial activities and in the service of your husbands and household affairs, so that your husbands will be pleased with you, and the sacrifice which they have begun will be properly executed. After all, your husbands are householders, and without your help, how can they execute their prescribed duties? Vindavali Mataji, it's your turn.
Okay. Where am I? The wives of the Brahmanas replied,
No,
Dear
Mataji,
Lord,
next paragraph, the Supreme Personality of Godhead replied.
Mataji, she was reading correct, Mataji.
Correct. I was reading correct.
Sorry, my mistake.
The wives of the Brahmanas replied, Dear Lord, this sort of instruction does not befit you. Your eternal promise is that you will always protect your devotees. And now you must fulfill this promise. Anyone who comes and surrenders unto you never goes back to the conditioned life of material existence. We accept that you will now fulfill your promise. You have surrendered unto your lotus feet. We have surrendered unto your lotus feet, which are covered by tulsi leaves. So we have no desire to give up the shelter of your lotus feet and return to the company of our so-called relatives, friends, and society. And what shall we do if we return home? Our husbands, brothers, fathers, sons, mothers, and friends will no longer accept us at home because we have already left them all. Therefore, we have no shelter to return to. Please, therefore, do not ask us to return home, but arrange for our stay under your lotus feet so that we can eternally live under your protection. Hare Krishna. It's wonderful.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear wives of the Brahmanas, rest assured that your husbands will not neglect you on your return, nor will your brothers, sons, or fathers refuse to accept you. Because you are my pure devotees, not only your relatives, but also people in general, as well as the demigods, will be satisfied with you. Krishna is situated as the super soul in everyone's heart. So, someone who becomes a pure devotee of Lord Krishna immediately becomes pleasing to everyone. The pure devotee of Lord Krishna is never inimical to anyone, nor can any sane person be an enemy of a pure devotee. Transcendental love for me does not depend upon bodily connection. Krishna said further, but anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association.
After being instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the wives returned home to their respective husbands. Pleased to see their wives back home, the Brahmanas sat together with them and executed the performances of sacrifices as enjoined in the Shastras. According to Vedic principle, religious rituals must be executed by the husband and wife together. When the Brahmanas' wives returned, the sacrifice was duly and nicely executed. One of the Brahmanas' wives, however, who had been forcibly checked from going to see Krishna, began to remember him as she heard of his bodily features. Being completely absorbed in his thought, she gave up her material body, conditioned by the laws of nature.
Hare Krishna. After the departure of the Brahmana's wives, Sri Govinda and the cowherd boyfriends enjoyed the food they had offered. In this way, the ever joyful personality of Godhead exhibited his transcendental pastimes in the guise of an ordinary human being in order to attract the common people to Krishna consciousness. With his words and beauty, he attracted all the cows, cowherd boys, and the damsels in the Vrindavan. All of them together enjoyed the pastimes of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Meera Mataji.
After the return of their wives from Krishna, the Brahmanas engaged in the performance of sacrifices began to regret their sinful activities in refusing food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They could finally understand their mistake, engaged in the performance of Vedic rituals. They had neglected the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had appeared just like an ordinary human being and asked for some food. They began to condemn themselves after seeing the faith and devotion of their wives. They regretted very much that although their wives were elevated to the platform of pure devotional service, they themselves could not understand even a little bit of how to love and offer transcendental loving service to the Supreme Soul. They began to talk among themselves. To hell with our being born Brahmanas, to hell with all our learning, to hell with our learning all the Vedic literatures, to hell with our performing great sacrifices and observing all the rules and regulations, to hell with our family, to hell with our expert service in performing the rituals exactly according to the regulations or descriptions of the scriptures. To hell with it all. And we have not developed transcendental loving services to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the speculation of the mind, body, and senses. Hare Krishna. Simi Mataji.
Mataji, you have to tell me. I was my laptop ran out of battery. So where do
The
I go?
learned Brahmanas.
Okay. The learned Brahmas, expert in Vedic ritualistic performances, were properly regretful because if one does not develop Krishna consciousness, all discharge of religious duty is simply a waste of time and energy. They continue to talk among themselves. The external energy of Krishna is so strong that it can create illusion to overcome even the greatest mystic yogi. Although we expert Brahmanas are considered to be the teachers of all other sections of human society, we also have been illusioned by the external energy. Just see how fortunate these women are. They are so devotedly dedicated their lives to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna that they easily did what is ordinarily so difficult. They gave up their family connections, which are just like dark well, for the continuation of material miseries. Women in general, being very simple at heart, can very easily take to Krishna consciousness, and when they develop love of Krishna, they can easily get liberated from the clutches of Maya, which are very difficult for even so called intelligent and learned men to surpass. Hare Krishna.
Shraddha-devi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The Brahmanas continued. According to Vedic injunction, women are not allowed to undergo the purificatory process of initiation by the sacred thread. Nor are they allowed to live as brahmacharinis in the ashrama of the spiritual master. Nor are they advised to undergo the strict disciplinary procedures. Nor are they very expert in discussing the philosophy of self realization. And by nature, they are not very pure. Nor are they very much attached to auspicious activities. Therefore, how wonderful it is that these women have developed transcendental love for Krishna, the Lord of all mystic yogis. They have surpassed all of us in firm faith and devotion unto Krishna. Although we are considered to be masters in all purificatory processes, we did not actually know what their goal is because we are too much attached to the materialistic way of life. Even though we were reminded of Krishna and Balaram by the cowherd boys, we disregarded them. We now think that the Supreme Personality of God had simply played a trick of mercy on us by sending his friends to beg for food from us. Otherwise, he had no need to send them. He could have satisfied their hunger then and there just by willing to do so.
If someone denies the self-sufficiency of Krishna on hearing that he was tending the cows for his livelihood, or if someone doubts that he's not being in need of the food, thinking that he was actually hungry, then such a person should understand that the goddess of fortune is always engaged in his service. In this way, the goddess can break her faulty habit of restlessness. In Vedic literature, like the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Krishna is served in his abode with great respect by not only one goddess of fortune but many thousands. Therefore, it is simply illusion for one to think that Krishna begged food from Brahmanas. It was actually a trick to show them mercy by teaching them that they should accept him in pure devotional service instead of engaging in ritualistic ceremonies. The Vedic ceremonial paraphernalia, the suitable place, the suitable time, the different grades of articles for performing the ritualistic ceremony, the Vedic hymns, the process of sacrifice, the priest who is able to perform the sacrifice, the fire, the demigods, the performer of the sacrifice, and the religious principles are all meant for understanding Krishna. For Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the Lord of all mystic yogis.
Because he has appeared because he has appeared as a child in the dynasty of the Yadus, we were so foolish that we could not understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Brahmanas said. But in other but on the other hand, we are very proud because we have such exalted wives who have developed pure transcendental service of the Lord without being shackled by our rigid opposition. Let us therefore offer our respectable obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, under whose illusory energy called Maya we are absorbed in fruitive activities. We therefore pray to the Lord to be kind enough to excuse us because we are simply captivated by his external energy. We transgressed his order without knowing his transcendental glories. Hare Krishna.
The Brahmanas repented their sinful activities. They wanted to go personally to offer their obeisances unto him, but being afraid of Kamsa, they could not go to Krishna and surrender unto him. In other words, it is very difficult for one to surrender fully unto the personality of Godhead without being purified by devotional service. The example of the learned Brahmanas and their wives is vivid. The wives of the Brahmanas, because they were inspired by pure devotional service, did not care for any kind of opposition. They immediately went to Krishna. But the Brahmanas, although they had come to know the supremacy of the Lord and were repenting, were still afraid of King Kamsa because they were too much addicted to fruitive activities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 23rd chapter of Krishna, delivering the wives of the Brahmanas who performed sacrifices. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Aruni Mataji, will you please stop sharing the screen?
Thank you, Aruni Mataji, for sharing.
Thank you, Aruni
Yes.
Mataji.
Thank you so
very
much,
much.
Aruni
Thank
Mataji.
you, Aruni Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So
God
we
will
have
bless you
completed
so
today's
much.
class. Yes. And tomorrow, Wednesday, we have no class. And on Thursday, Shukumar Radhi Mataji, you will conduct the class. And Friday, Varshana Mataji, you will conduct the class. And Shraddha Mataji will give us the study materials, what we will read. So we will follow that. And Bindavali Mataji, you can start with the japa session on Thursday and Friday too. On Saturday, there will be no class.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining the class.
Vancha
Please stop.
kalpatarubhyasya
It's Sunday.
kripasindhu.
Sunday there's class, right? Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday, let's see what happens, but until Saturday. So we have class only Thursday and Friday. Saturday, there won't be no class. So
Vancha
Sunday,
My
kalpatarubhyasya
prayers for your
kripasindhu.
granddaughter, Mataji. Sorry.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much. See, just now I got a call from my daughter. I don't know what she wants to tell me, but I hope something will be good.
It will be
Because
good.
I'm in the class, I told her
It will
I'm
be
in the
good
class for
after
her.
all
Will be
these
good.
prayers.
Yeah.
Thank you very
But
much.
Mataji, why don't you call her and find out? We will wait to know
Yes.
because we
Yeah.
are also
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
that
anxious
will
after
to
the
know
class
about
and all
her.
our
Yes.
Or
prayers.
otherwise, she can text us on the group and let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do
I
that.
was anxious to know, Mataji, what is the problem? What happened to your granddaughter?
She fell from 20 feet. You know, she went for hiking and she fell from top 20 feet, and they airlifted her to the hospital. And
How old is she?
there she is.
She's 21 years old, Mataji.
Yeah, my daughter called. Yeah, she's 21 years old. 1 second, ma.
Yes,
Sorry
sure.
about it. She
No,
just
no.
now called. Man, she's doing FaceTime.
Maybe we should finish with the prayers and you can text us on the.
Yeah,
the
you
Yes.
should.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
want to rush you, you know.
Mancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindhoti
Kalpatarubhyascha
evacha
kripasindhubhyascha
patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo
namo.
namaha.
Take care, Vindhyavali
Hare
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Hare Krishna. See, everybody is here. Why they
Hare
are
Krishna
waiting? What you?
Sutapa, thank you so much for
Hello?
organizing it.
Hare Krishna,
Kanta?
Thank you,
Mataji. Thank you
Sutapa.
so much
Hello?
for joining. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
No, she is not connecting. He's not connecting. For
Take
some
care,
reason, she's
Vindhyavali
calling. Check. Hi, hello. Hello. Kanta? Shobha Radhe. Shobha Radhe. She's showing something. Hello. Hello. Shobha Radhe. They're all talking. Hello.
So that means
Hello.
things are better, Mataji. All are
Looks
talking.
like her
Yeah.
friends, I think. They're all sitting. Hello?
Mame, these are Prerna's friends, all the friends who are taking such good care of Prerna. I mean,
These are all praying for Prerna. They're all praying God for her Prerna. You see that? Hello. They're all praying for Prerna. I'm not able to connect to her. I
No
will call
problem,
her and
Mataji.
tell her, Mataji.
Yeah, you call her, Mataji.
Sobarade. They're all calling, they're all waiting for a call. Sobaras. Good news. Tell them. Hello. Can you see?
We can see her, Mataji.
I can see her too. She's not talking.
I think
They're all waiting for you to say something. We're all praying just now. We ended class just now. You want to? Hello? Can you hear me? Sorry, Mataji. She's
That's
No,
not
it's
able to
okay,
okay.
hear.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I'll let you know. I'll send a text.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you,
sure, Mataji.
Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Bol.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody.